and thanks for joining us. This is the Signature TV News Update. I am Marvelous Obomman. And now in the headlines. Federal government recommends national pupil feeding program. President Muhammadu Buhari holds emergency National Security Council meeting. Pandemonium in Abia market as Vigilante shoots trader over 18,000 naira levy. And now the details. The federal government is to recommence the National School Feeding Program, an initiative that encourages child nutrition and school enrollment in Nigeria. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management, Sadiq Farouk, made the announcement at a news conference in Abuja on Tuesday. Signature TV correspondent Ifunanya Ilodianya reports.
The National School Feeding Program is one of the initiatives of the present federal government, aimed at achieving three objectives by providing one balanced meal every day for children in Nigeria primary schools. The program seeks to improve the nutrition and health of children of school age. The school feeding program also serves to attract children to schools, thereby addressing poor school attendance or the out-of-school challenge. It also creates more jobs through the employment of thousands of caterers who provide the meals for the schools. In Abuja on Tuesday, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management, Sadiq Farouk, also said that the National Social Investment Program, under which the school feeding program operates, has been accepted by Nigerians as a means of creating more jobs and enterprises in the economy.
Public primary schools will receive one nutritious meal daily in all the 54,619 schools, public schools nationwide, public primary schools. The program is being expanded to accommodate an additional 5 million children in line with the directives of His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari. The outcomes of this program include increase in school enrollment, improved nutrition for benefiting pupils, boosting of local economies, and facilitating jobs through the activities of 103,028 cooks, 100,000 smallholder farmers, and numerous aggregators and commodity transporters engaged nationwide.
The minister announced that over 500,000 young Nigerians have been shortlisted for the Batch C of the N-Power program, which provides jobs, exposes the beneficiaries to needed skills, and creates wealth in the economy. National Coordinator of the Social Investment Program, Dr. Umar Bender, said that the program is addressing poverty and economic development in the country.
This press briefing is essential and is in the character of the ministry to keep the country and every single individual abreast of the happenings. And you heard the Honorable Minister reading out the statistics, telling you exactly what is happening, transparently, in a very, very accountable manner.
The school feeding program was engulfed in accountability issues, raising questions if it is not being used for political patronage. Its funding was also questioned in the light of failing national resources. In Abuja, Ifunanya Ilodianya for Signature TV.
President Muhammadu Buhari on Tuesday presided over an emergency National Security Council meeting at the State House in Abuja. The meeting, which held at the First Lady's Conference Room, was to review the current security situation in the country. This is the first security meeting since the death of the former Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Ibrahim Attahiro. President Buhari had at the last meeting outlined new security measures for the southeast and south-south zones of the country to restore peace in the region. In attendance was the Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibanjo, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, Chief of Staff to the President, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, Minister of Defense, Major General Bashir Magashi retired, Foreign Affairs Minister Geoffrey Onyama, and the National Security Advisor, retired Major General Babagana Mongono. Also in attendance were the Chief of Defense Staff, General Loki Irabo, Chief of Army Staff, Major General Farouk Yaya, Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Awal Zubairu, Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Isiaka Amao, Inspector General of Police, Usman Baba, the Director General, National Intelligence Agency, Ahmed Rufai, and the Director General of the Department of State Services, Yusuf Bichi, and other presidential aides. The House representative is to invite the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, over the legality of the Twitter ban by the federal government. The decision was reached on Tuesday during the plenary. Speaker of the House, Femi Gbajabiamila, said the House recognizes that the microblogging site has been used for both good and bad, and the legislature must make sure that the policies of government are in accordance with the law and do not have adverse consequences on the people. He said relevant committees of the House are to constitute a single committee and commence an investigation into the circumstances surrounding the ban and its legality. The federal government of Nigeria, through the Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, last week announced the indefinite suspension of Twitter in the country. Stakeholders in the Enugu State project say that responsible and accountable leadership should be the superstructure on which political leadership in the state must be built. At the first edition of a stakeholders interface on leadership beyond politics, held in Enugu over the weekend, the convener of the meeting and former gubernatorial candidate of the United People's Party in the 2019 election, Ekene Uzodimma, said that politics is about partisanship, but leadership is about responding to the needs of society. SignatureTV correspondent was at the event.
The theme of the Enugu Summit, Leadership Beyond Politics, set the agenda for the summit, which attracted participants from across political divides. Convener of the summit and former governorship candidates of the United People's Party, Ekene Uzodimma, said that Nigeria has not benefited from what true leadership can provide, even though the country has enjoyed unbroken democratic experience since 1999.
For the past 20 years, we've experienced everything that politics can give. We've not experienced those things that leadership alone can deliver. One example I want you to take home. From 1999 to today, there is no new school built by this state government. Not just this state, across Nigeria, except for two that were built, new secondary school now, that were built during the time of Pandemonium. That's not to be corrected. There are no new health institutions. There are no new educational facilities. For the past 20 years, politics kept us where we are.
Mr. Uzodimma cautioned that partisanship which comes with politics tends to create a divide in the polity and urged political players to understand that societal needs such as education, economy, and security have no regard for partisanship. In his contribution, former House of Representatives candidate of the All Progressive Congress in the 2019 elections, Vin Martin Obiora Ilu, said that Nigerians must strive to enthrone the kind of leadership that answers to their needs and challenges. He traced the incidents of poverty, banditry, pervasive kidnapping, and insurgency to the failure of leadership in Nigeria.
We deserve a patriotic leadership, an accountable leadership, and in fact an empathic, a leadership that feels what we feel. That's what we need. Boko Haram, kidnapping, banditry, tribalism, religious bigotry, all these are thriving in our country today because of bad leadership and bad governance.
A chieftain of the All Progressive Congress and former founder of the United People's Congress, Chekwas Okori, called for focused leadership. He warned the Igbo nation against losing their self-esteem just because they lost the civil war between 1967 and 1970.
The worst thing that normally happens to any race that lost a war is the loss of self-esteem. And before that race will recover the lost self-esteem, it will take several decades of conscientious, focused leadership. You have a duty to help recover the lost self-esteem so that you can walk about with your shoulders high.
Participants at the summit called on Nigerians to rise against bad governance, defeat corruption as a means of creating a Nigerian nation that can cater to the needs of all her citizens.
There was chaos at the Umuahia Timber Market along Ahieke Road in Abia State as a member of the Vigilante group shot trader dead over 18,000 naira annual levy. It was learned that trouble started after traders refused to pay the annual levy imposed by the Abia State Internal Revenue Board. A resident stated that the State Revenue Board ordered the traders who refused to pay the levy to close their shops, but the traders put up resistance and some vigilantes who were there to enforce the order got involved. The resident said during the face-off, the vigilantes shot a trader identified as Indomie, who later died with 5 others sustaining injuries, an act which provoked the traders who retaliated by burning the office and vehicles belonging to the local guards. Reacting to the crisis, the state government, according to the Secretary of the State Government, Chris Ezem, has asked the police to commence investigation into the matter. And now, moving over to business. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, is reportedly in talks with investors to borrow $2.5 billion to acquire a 20% minority equity stake in the Dangote refinery. This was disclosed by the NNPC Chief Operating Officer, Refining and Petrochemicals, Mustafa Yakubu, at the 2021 edition of the Nigerian Oil and Gas Opportunity Fair, NOGOF. According to him, the state-owned oil firm is discussing with African Export-Import Bank, Afreximbank, for the loan, adding that the loan was informed by the need to hasten the completion of the $15 billion facility, which is expected to come alive early next year. Kenny Obatero, the NNPC spokesperson, told newsmen that the corporation cannot discuss the equity stake funding sources for now. The Dangote refinery, currently under construction in the Lekki Free Zone, Lagos, is expected to be Africa's biggest oil refinery and the world's biggest single-train facility upon completion. And now on the foreign scene. The United Nations said on Tuesday that more than 3,300 people fled their homes in Burkina Faso's volatile northern region, following the country's worst massacre in years. The United Nations Refugee Agency said thousands of children were among those who fled Sohan village near the border with Niger and Mali after gunmen stormed the area on Saturday, killing civilians. UNHCR spokesman Baba Baloch said at least 138 men, women and children had been executed in the attack, while nearly 40 people were seriously injured. The slaughter in the early hours of Saturday followed the slaying of 14 people late on Friday in the village of Tadarayat in the same region, where jihadists linked to Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State group have been targeting civilians and soldiers. And now to the world of entertainment. Blessing Adejo is on standby. Over to you, Blessing.
It don't happen. It don't happen. My fellow, it don't happen.
Hello, wonderful people. It's always a pleasure to have you join me on Entertainment News. I am Blessing Adejo. Talented Nigerian comedian Aloma Isaac, popularly called Zik Aloma, recently rewarded himself for all his hard work by buying a Mercedes-Benz SUV. Aloma had been known for making many Nigerians smile with his funny videos, and a number of them were pleased with his new car. Taking to his Instagram story, the comedian reposted a congratulatory video from his colleague Ada Jesus, who celebrated Zeke on his new ride. In the short clip, Aloma was seen having a feel of his ride as he sat in it and marveled at its beauty. Congratulations to him and more wins. Nollywood actor Yemi Solade, unlike many Nigerians, is in support of the Twitter ban by the government. In an interview, the movie star said Twitter went too far by insulting the president and by extensions, Nigerian. According to him, Nigeria is the most populous black nation on earth, and about 45% of the population makes Twitter tick. Solade revealed that it is not the first time Twitter would insult Nigerians, and the white supremacy tendency should be curbed. He went on to say that everyone had the freedom to express themselves, but when a platform is used to foment trouble and project anarchy, there should be rules. Noting that he is not a fan of the Bird app, and the actor said he has come across volatile statements which do not help the country and its existing problems. The movie star also said Twitter was not really helping Nigerians with the negative posts, especially hitting the government.
And that's it on Entertainment News. I remain your uncle, Blessing Adajo. Bye.
Thank you, Blessing. And now on sports. Ahead of Tokyo Olympics, the game's president, Siko Hashimoto, said overseas journalists covering the game will have their movements tracked by the Global Positioning System, GPS, and could have their passes revoked if they break the rules. Hashimoto made this known before a Tokyo 2020 executive board meeting. She said about 6,000 reporters visiting Japan for the Olympics must provide a detailed list of areas they will visit for their first 2 weeks in Japan, such as sports venues and hotels. Hashimoto said tracking technology would be used to make sure they only go where they are supposed to. Organizers of the pandemic-postponed 2020 Games, which open in just over 6 weeks, are trying to reassure a skeptical public that the mega event can be safely under strict virus rules. Before we end the news, a recap of our major stories. Federal government has recommenced the National Pupil Feeding Program. President Muhammadu Buhari holds emergency National Security Council meeting with service chiefs. Pandemonium in Abia market as Vigilante shoots trader over 18,000 levy. Safety and security begins with you. Be patriotic. Report any suspicious activity to law enforcement agencies. Please stay safe. That's the Signature TV News Update. On behalf of my producer, Obi Chibweze, I am Marvelous Obomanu. Thanks for watching.